Okay, so we are going to get started. Thank you everyone again for joining us today for Wild and with Web Tools. Our speaker today is Tracy Etherton. She has been a contributor on our Techniques magazine and has spoken about in the past in some of her articles about web tools that are free and educational to use in the CTE classroom. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Tracy, and feel free to take it away whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Aaliyah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Like Aaliyah told you, my name is Tracy. I'm a teacher at St. Genevieve High School, 9 through 12. That's in Missouri. It's a little bit south of St. Louis. And a few years ago, our school made the leap to a 1-to-1 ratio of students to computers. And that's been a really interesting adventure. This last fall, they switched us again, and we got to learn all about the world of Chromebooks and Drive, and we've really learned a lot in the past few years. And I did my recent graduate work on professional development for teachers and how to offer some online training programs that are beneficial without being overwhelming. So that's what I'd like to share with you a little bit today. There are several Web 2.0 tools I'd like to show you, lots of examples. I might move a little bit fast for some folks, but I would like to reassure you that if I go too quickly, the last slide will have all of the tools that we talked about today, and all of them are really very user-friendly. So if I zip through something a little too quick, don't be afraid to go back and look around on the website a little bit. There's a whole lot of help tools available for almost every one of these. I do hope that you find one or two that fit with what you're already doing in the classroom and enhance that to make it a little bit better. And the last bullet is really important. I've said it a couple of times already. I'm really not here to overwhelm anybody, but to maybe give you some fresh ideas that might help liven up things in your classroom, especially at this time of year. We have 7 days left, so it's interesting in my classroom right now. The graphic on the next slide is one of my favorites I've ever seen, and it really drives home the point that while technology is a great tool, it's not really the learning goal for most of our classrooms. We want students to be able to use the information that we give them and the content in a way that applies to their lives and to their world or to their workplace. We don't really want them just to know how to use a technology tool. And so as you're looking through some of these options that I have for you today, think about really how they can best serve you and your students more than really how to become an expert on using a tool, because that's not really what it's all about. The first part I would like to share with you is about presentation tools, and I have 4 of those to share with you today. And I didn't really say this at the beginning, but if you have any questions, I think Celia wants to handle those maybe at the end. If you want to type them into the text box at any time, that's okay to do too. I might miss them though, so if I do that, I promise that she's going to keep me on track and help me get back to those in the end. So these are the first 4 that we're going to start with. The first one is Prezi. And it's not exactly a new tool. It's been around for a while. But I call it sometimes PowerPoint on steroids. It's got a lot of features that are a little more engaging to the audience. And in my opinion, most of my students have become really comfortable with PowerPoints, which can be a good thing. But I also like for them to challenge themselves a little bit and try something new. And Prezi allows them to maybe be a little more creative sometimes. And so I thought I would take you to the Prezi really quick. I'm going to try to share the screen here and see how that works. Thought we might come up to the internet. Here we go. Okay. So this is a Prezi that I found, and it deals with culinary art. I teach a little bit of culinary at a very basic level. And this example in particular addresses things like, what exactly culinary art is, the history of it a little bit. But you'll notice, and I'm not spending a lot of time on it, it has a much more dynamic presentation and holds your attention a little bit more than the traditional PowerPoint that our eyes are all used to already. And you can see they've made good use of not only the visual space, but the images. And you can see that fruit tart staring at you from the background the whole time. And when you get over to Prezi and you create an account, you can see there are lots of templates available. It's always fun how technology is slow when you're trying to do a presentation about technology. I might just move on and not worry about much more on Prezi today. But when you get there, just create your own account. This one's free. All of the things I'm going to show you today are free. Oh, here we go. You can explore. They have many that are free to use, so it might be worth your time to look around and see what's already there. There might be something that you can already use in class or that you could duplicate and just edit slightly. So there's lots of different ones already available. And if you wanted to create one, there's also lots of templates that are already available. And you don't have to use one of their templates. You can start from blank and create your own. You can add in lots of different features. And I was hoping to show you one of the templates. Here we go. Okay, so there's several different options that you could pick from to give you some ideas of what's available. So that is Prezi. You'll want to check that out sometime and explore a little bit there. Let's see if I can find my way back. Let's see. I would like to stop sharing. Oh, good. I'm still in. I didn't lose you guys. Awesome. Okay. Another one is eMaze, and it's really kind of similar to Prezi. The big difference in my mind between the two, Prezi I found on my own, and I went through quite some adjustment trying to learn how to use it. eMaze, a student introduced me to and was showing me one of her projects for another class, and she was so excited because it was so easy in her own words. And if a student is going to tell me how easy it is to use a Web 2.0 tool and how much she likes it, that tells me that's half the battle right there. It's going to be a good fit for my classroom. And there are lots of different options. And I'm going to go back up here and share the screen some more with you guys. I have one loaded up. Yeah, this is it, that one of my colleagues made for when he teaches about the Renaissance in history class. And as he shares this with his students, it's almost like going through an art gallery. And again, there's lots of different formats and templates available here. But you can imagine how much more engaging this is than simply a flat PowerPoint. And students really enjoy taking the information that they've learned from class and being able to put it together in a creative end product that not only highlights what they've learned, but it also shows what they're capable of creating. So again, eMaze has been very popular in my classes as well. Let's see. Powtoon, another option. Powtoon has recently changed, and instead of just allowing you, it used to just allow you to make a movie that would run on its own, but now they have I guess more of a PowerPoint option too, where you can develop your own slides and paste those at your own pace and have control over the show and how quickly it's progressing. I seem to be sharing back and forth a lot. Sorry, guys. But I wanted to show you an example of a Powtoon some of my students created as well. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, I need to close eMaze because it's getting in my way. Here's Powtoon. I'm going to play just a little bit of this instead of the whole entire thing. These students made it for an FCCLA contest star event called Illustrated Talk, and their topic was depression. I don't want to bring anyone down. It's not a cheery, happy topic, but if you could focus on the type of presentation that students are able to create, and these aren't high-tech students that made this. These are regular kids who are great, but I wouldn't say that they have genius levels of technology. There's just a lot of great options involved in this particular Web 2.0 tool. You can embed video. It's got a lot of templates that are very user-friendly. This is the video portion. I'm going to go ahead and skip that. So it's almost kind of taken the visual designing challenge maybe to a more user-friendly level. And it's a lot, students I think have a lot better confidence in feeling about what they have accomplished when they feel like that they're able to make a really high-quality presentation with some tools that are out there. They're easy to use. So again, that is Powtoon, and it also offers a great many options for many different applications in the classroom. Most of these that I've talked about, teachers could use easily to create a presentation to deliver information to students, but it can also be used as a great way for students to share what they have learned with you in the classroom. The last presentation tool I wanted to show you today is called ThingLink, and it's really exactly like it's named. It's a thing, a picture is your backdrop, and it's got several links on it. I love it for things like web quests. If I have a collection of websites that I want the students to visit, I can organize those in a ThingLink. Students can work through them at their own pace, but they know exactly where I need them to go to find their information. The one that I'm going to show you is one that I put together with some teacher resources, and they're all related to technology. So I think we have time today to actually look at a few of those too, and so they might kind of be secondary resources for you. But the way it works is you upload an image. I have the top 10 list here, and then each of these dots, I'm trying to scroll back up, each of these dots, as I hover over them, you'll see our websites where you can access more information. One that I like is TeamMaker. And so when I have to make groups for class, all I have to do is paste the students' names in over here on the left, figure out how many teams that I need and what I want. I could have them be animal teams, and then we have different animal names. The number of teams that I want, and I can increase or decrease that, and then generate teams. And I'm going to get my list of tigers and lions and wolves and jaguars and bears and cheetahs. So it's really pretty simple to organize new teams. And if you don't like it, if you don't want Pete on this team, goodness gracious, you can cut him right out of there and put somebody else. Okay, so that's TeamMaker. And since we have a few minutes, I want to show you a few of these other ones. Wheel Decide is another great one. And what you do with Wheel Decide is it picks who's next pretty easily. Or you can decide what you're going to eat. I like to put in student names on the Wheel Decide, and then when we have to determine whose turn it is to answer the question, all I have to do is click the wheel. We sometimes give out prizes, too, based on the wheel. So tonight we're all eating at the steakhouse, and you can let the wheel decide. You can make your own wheels, too. Lots of different options. They already have some existing wheels. So Wheel Decide is a nice little resource to have. Oh, I lost that one there. Let's scroll on down here and look at some of these other ones. Mind Map, text to mind map is awesome. You can copy text actually and paste it into this little box, and it will organize it into a mind map. This example, you can see how it's sorted by columns. Months of the year is our title. We have a different color for each section. And then based on your indentions, the website will create a mind map for you. So it's great to have students organize information. If you were looking at perhaps, I teach child development, so I think a lot in terms of types of development and maybe characteristics. You could set this up for maybe toddlers and then have different types of development on each of the branches. And then students would give examples of the different types of development for each one. So that's text to mind map. Let me see what else I've got. Oh, Kahoot you're going to see in a minute, so we're going to look at that one. Stumble Upon. If you haven't been here, I think it won't take me there because it's blocked on the school filter, and I'm still at school today. Ooh, it might log me in. Stumble Upon is a great resource. When you set up your account, all you need to do is click your interests. And as a facts teacher, you're going to expect to find foods on the interest, right? It's telling me a lot about internet here. So some of these are my categories that I have marked as interest. And I find so many things that I can use for class, like crazy food facts, for instance. Artists cut raw food into 98 perfect pieces. So there's all kinds of resources out there, and if you've ever been looking for the perfect thing that you need for class, you might find it on Stumble Upon. You can bookmark websites and resources that you find there. So that's a great resource too. And I've sort of taken you off of the path for a few minutes of presentation tools, but I hope that's all right. So again, ThingLink, you simply upload the picture, and then you add your touches, they call it. And they're just the little dots with information that take you to a new website. I've got to unshare my screen. Okay. So again, like I said, a lot of those tools that are great for presentations can also really be useful to let students use those, whether you're competing and they need some sort of visual presentation, like the STAR event example that I showed you. I like to give students an option, really, and choose the tool that they like best to demonstrate their competency of the skill to me. And so it just, I think, adds a lot more flexibility to my day, as well as it gives them some ownership. And as many of our students, as I see anyway, that are just really looking for some way to have a little more control over some of their life, this totally gives it to them. And then I really think that it helps improve an attitude about your class a little bit. For most of these, they have a library of images that are already available. You can also insert your own images. The only concern I would have there would be copyright infringement. And so maybe before you send your students out on the internet to use some of these, you encourage them to use copyright-free images or maybe use their own images. Again, all of them have features that are rather similar. You can embed YouTube videos. You can make audio clips. A lot of them you can, insert hyperlinks. There's lots and lots of different options there. So maybe play with it a little bit and see what you can find on some of those tools. The second section that I wanted to share with you is a little more about assessment. And more in my classroom, I'm expected to use assessment and use the results from that assessment to determine what instruction happens in my classroom. So I think, that might be a trend that's happening to a lot of other people too. And some of these tools are fun and easy to use, and they give us that data. So it's really a helpful way to do that. The first one is Kahoot. And if you are able to maybe open another tab on your computer, or if you have a cell phone with you and you have the interest and the capability to participate, I would love for you to do that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Kahoot first. It literally changed my classroom. I found it about a year and a half ago, and I came back and started using it in my classes. And within a few months, everybody was using it in all of our classes. The kids got to the point where if you weren't going to make a Kahoot forum, they didn't have any time for whatever you were going to say. It was really an interesting phenomenon when that took over. Teachers will go to getkahoot.com to create an account, and that's a different site than what you ask the students to log into, and you'll see that in a minute. The students or the participants will visit kahoot.it, and they will log in. And again, I'm going to let you guys do that in a second. So it's a little different from other sites in that teachers go to a different place. It is a really very dynamic assessment tool. We use it a lot for test reviews, but I've also kind of started using it in some different ways too. I have just a really short logo quiz for us, and I didn't make this. It was created by the EBI28. I just stole it. There's a lot of free things out there. So what you'll need to do is look in the upper portion of the screen. It says join at kahoot.it. And if I don't get any takers, that's okay, because I've got an iPad here and I'm playing along with myself here. So when you get to kahoot.it, it will ask you to enter this game pin. And then it will ask for your name. And oh good, Annette's on. I don't know you, Annette, but thanks. And I'm Tracy, so I'm in. And we'll give it another minute or two. Deborah's in. See, it's fun already. Everybody got to put their name on the screen. I will tell you, hi Jacqueline, that if somebody wants to put something like Big Fat Dummy on the screen for their name, you can hover right over it and kick them out. So anybody who wants to be inappropriate, you can remove very easily. And sometimes we have connection issues at this point. It took the kids a little while to catch on. So I kind of gave them a time frame and said, okay, we've got 20 seconds. And if you're not in that 20 seconds, then we're going to go on without you. But you'll find a team, and you'll find somebody who's already logged in, and you'll just be on their team. And that seemed to work pretty well. So if you have some connection issues, I just encourage them to find a team. We're going to go ahead and start. And so the way it will work, there are 6 questions. This image was uploaded by the person that created it. They're going to give us a logo on the screen. Now, your screen's going to be different from mine. Do you see that? And you want to pick the one that you think is the correct answer and click it. And the correct answer was the gold one. All of us fell for that silly first one, didn't we? I'm going to tell you, you guys might be the best webinar people ever. I wasn't sure if this was going to work. Let's go to the next one. We're all tied for last. Look at us go. Okay, here's the next question. What is this logo? Oh, okay. Pick your winner. If you'll notice on your screen, Kahoot should be giving you little funny messages until the time runs up. And yay, now look how smart we all are. You can win up to 1,000 points, and speed matters for Kahoot. Oh my gosh, what is that? The quicker you answer, the more points you get, as long as you're correct. And teachers can set this timer over on the left. This one's set for 20 seconds. Whoops. Looks like TM is running the game for us right now. Question 4, we have another logo. And if you would, oh, there's only one answer? Where'd everybody go? Oh, here we are. There's 3. It's nice because you can see how many people you're still waiting on. Mustang is the correct one. Very nice. TM is still winning. Question 5, we have 2 questions remaining. Oh, this one's tricky. Tricked some of us, didn't it? Oh, look at Helen. Last question. And it's funny because you can tell immediately the questions the kids know very quickly because the little counter on the right goes really, really fast. Okay, it looks like Helen is our big winner, so then we go, yay, Helen! And if you were in my classroom now, Helen, you could take a selfie maybe with your phone and your picture in front of the winner board. And we just did an assessment, and everybody had a good time, and nobody hates it. Let me show you this too, feedback and results. You can download the results into a spreadsheet, and you get results on how everyone answered and how many questions they got right and how many they got wrong and which ones you need to go work on a little bit more before you give the final assessment. It even color codes them. How about that? And the kids had fun. Don't tell anybody. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the presentation and get away from Kahoot, but keep your devices because I have another one that's pretty close to that. So that worked great. You guys did well. Thank you for showing everyone how that worked. It was great. After a while, I told you everybody wanted Kahoot, and they got really stubborn about that. They kind of got burned out on it pretty quick. And so I was really happy to find quizzes, I think maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And I always call it Kahoot's cousin because the two tools are pretty similar. Both are very engaging. They both save your quizzes, and you get immediate data. And, again, this one you go to a different website when you're the student than you do when you're the teacher. Oh, I need to share screens. That's what I need to do. Sorry. So they have a lot of similarities. Okay, here we are. Let's get out of here. This is what quizzes looks like. And I've already got it all set up in here, so all you have to do is participate. So the website you will go to is join.quizzes.com if you would like to play. And your code is 940426. Sorry, 0 matters, I think. And, oh, Helen beat me. I'm working on it, Helen. There we go. And Amy's in. And it tells you how many troops you have. We'll give you another minute or two if you'd like to get in on this. So you get your people into the game, and then we click Start Game. And so you get the countdown on the big screen. You'll want to pay attention to your own screen for a moment as you focus on the answers. You'll notice that your individual screen has immediate feedback with a meme to help encourage you or scare you, one or the other. The master screen, or the one that the teacher would have, simply shows you how many people got answers correct and how many got them wrong, and some progress for each of the participants is sort of at the bottom, if you check that out. And so it's really probably boring for those of you not playing along, but you can see how far everybody's gotten. You can see how many questions were missed, how many we're still waiting on to answer. It's a very short quiz. We should be done in just a second. Again, you get more points if you answer more quickly. So you can see that Jacqueline is done and Tracy is done. Helen is still working on it. Tim's answered a couple, and Amy, I would bet that Amy got kicked out of her computer somehow. Then at the end, when you decide you want to end the game, well, yes, I'm going to end the game. Oh. And then I get a spreadsheet that again tells me who got which questions right and wrong. And now I know that we need to focus on question 1 and 3 a little bit more, but 4 and 5 and 2 are pretty good. And we get a summary again of the questions at the bottom of the page, telling us how many were right and wrong. So maybe make a couple of Kahoots, and when they get tired of that one, throw in a quizzes to grab their attention. They're both very similar and very engaging for the classroom. And I made a little comparison of the two for you. Quizzes requires you to have 2 to 4 answers. Kahoot, you can also do 2 to 4. Kahoot was fun because you can make more than one question correct. So if you wanted them to choose all of the correct answers, you could put a little bit of a spin on that one. You can put photos into any of them. You can see the results immediately. You can control the timing and the sounds and the images. For instance, if you didn't really like the memes and quizzes, you can turn that off. What I really liked about it was when the kids really got burned out on it, I started looking for new ways to use it. and the one we just did was on kitchen safety. But that can be kind of repetitive, yet really important to use. So I had the students divide up the content, and for instance, one group took maybe safe knife use, and another one took preventing fires and burns, and another one took cross-contamination. And so each group had to make 5 or 6 questions, and then they each had their own quizzes and Kahoots that they shared, and they took each other's quizzes and Kahoots, and then they rated them for who had the best ones. So not only were they using the content to make one, they were reviewing the material or looking at each other's work, and I think that makes them better as well as looking at critically how they're addressing the content and what they really have learned about it. I had a question. I'm going to go ahead and talk about it since it relates to Kahoot, from Rebecca, asking if we need to be worried about the time really for Kahoot. And I bet you that came up, Rebecca, before I just told you that you guys can totally be in charge of the timing for that. You can take away the time. You can take away the sound. There's a lot of options in both of those. So sure, you could. I think you would probably want to disable the timing for the whole session rather than just one. And if you had a situation that you knew timing was an issue, I might recommend quizzes instead of Kahoot, because Kahoot, I think sometimes our students feel a little more singled out when they use that. Sure, number 1 through 5 made the screen, but if you didn't make 1 through 5 and there's only 8 kids in the class, then you know who the bottom 3 were. Quizzes doesn't really show all of that during the entire progress. It gives you your ranking, but it doesn't necessarily have you on the big screen. So that might be a little more helpful and take some of the pressure off a little bit. Another way you might consider using one of these tools is maybe as a pretest, and then you have your data before you actually begin instruction in that unit. Another colleague of mine uses them all the time for independent test reviews. And so I started using them as a test review in class and thought that was a great peachy idea. But this guy took it to the next level and makes them available on his website all the time. He's got high school juniors who are taking these quizzes for practice all weekend long so they can do better on the test. And that's really what it's about, is learning how you can review the information in a way that really works for you. So there's a lot of great applications, not just, a few questions for a review for a test. Big, huge labs, it's just fun. Every time I get to that one, I just think how fun this is. There's so many options. I'm going to show you a couple of those today. The ones that I've used include like magazine covers and trading cards and demotivation posters. And I would like to show that to you right now. Sometimes the students that I get are a little creative, and they get cranky with things like fill-in-the-blank worksheets and stuff. But something like Big Huge Labs just really gets them going. And so they have all of these different options. I really haven't used many of them, but the ones that I use a lot. I have used the magazine cover several times, where you just create a magazine cover and you put whatever information about your topic that you would want to put together with a photo that ties it all together. Think kitchen safety over here for that one. You could totally do that. Maybe effective methods for disciplining your child, and then have 5 or 6 headlines. Another one that I've used a lot when I teach nutrition is trading card, and each student will create a trading card with the facts about that nutrient. For instance, foods you could eat to get more of that nutrient, or deficiency conditions, or what this nutrient does for our body. So you've got some of those options. I really want to show you the motivator one, though. This really reaches some of the darker students that perhaps aren't quite as enthusiastic about traditional learning. And most of the demotivation posters tend to be a little bit dark in their applications. I have one that we made, yes, about kitchen safety. Appliances, always unplug them before you lick them. And so it kind of drives home a point and catches their attention in a different way. And really, I didn't show you a lot about Big Huge Labs, but it's as simple as choosing the option you would like, uploading a photo that represents what it is you want to say, and then having a short, maybe sentence or two at the most, about what you'd like to bring home about that particular concept. So those are Big Huge Lab options. Another related idea is using memes in the classroom. And my 17-year-old daughter thinks I'm a bit of a nerd sometimes. But I stumbled across a meme generator on my phone. And when we went to our state FCCLA conference, one of the students was really pouty because there was no dance. And she was so sad because she thought there should be a dance. And she was making a pouty face, so I took her picture and then made the caption, "I can't believe there's no dance at the state conference." And it was just silly, and we had fun. But the kids really got into that. And before we got home, it was, "Hey, did you make me a meme?" And they couldn't get enough of it. And then that's when I really started thinking about using it in the classroom a little bit more. The teacher one is silly, I know. But there's a lot of great applications for classroom use as well. We used it when we talked about insurance in my classroom, and the students had to make memes reinforcing maybe a specific kind of insurance that would be important in a certain situation, or why it was important to have insurance. I think I had some of them that used it for health habits as well. When I started looking on the internet, these aren't mine, but I found some entertaining ones about the field of education in general. Test scores were all handling those challenges. And the questions students ask over and over about complete sentences or where something is. And as I thought about that, I thought, what a great way to address classroom rules with some humorous memes that make the point of, yes, you have to write in complete sentences, but are a little less obnoxious about it. So then I found, the meme creator on the computer as well. Memecreator.org is a very simple one to use. Again, short concepts, sort of like the demotivational posters. And I like to print them out sometimes and make a meme wall. You can also put them on your website. So I wanted to take you to Meme Creator real quick and show you that. I will go ahead and close Big Huge Labs here. There's Meme Creator. And so all you really do is choose a file for your picture and type in what you would like to say. You have to agree to some terms. And when you're finished, you can download your creation. So that is Meme Creator. And, I found a couple more. Those are more related to kitchen safety and lab safety. I just really have to print out the safety one. Oh, my gosh, kids. Sometimes it's important, So general tips for most of these Web 2.0 tools. Again, like I told you, they're all free. A lot of times they have bonus things for teachers. So if you look around a little bit and see if there's any education options, that would be a good thing to try on all of these sites. I would also say for a lot of them, you have some options about setting up a classroom account, and you could use one email, like maybe your school email, or get another Gmail account to use with all of these sites, and then have a standard password. Like I use our school mascot as a password. All the kids know my email. All the kids know the school mascot. Then they can get in and they can make their projects, and I can also log in there and see everything they've done in one place. Sometimes that's the easiest way to get to everything at one time rather than logging in or finding out that somebody didn't set their project to public instead of private. So I would recommend some of that for sure. Some other tips that I have listed for you today, just like we saw in that beginning slide, you want to make sure that your technology actually enhances your content. Don't just pick something because you want to use tech. Find something that's going to help in your classroom if you want to use tech. But you can merge the two together. But the biggest problem is when people feel pressured, I think, to incorporate some technology, but then they don't really pick something they like, that they're comfortable with, that also enhances their content. So that's got to be pretty important. Sometimes, too, I'll try new things that I'm not an expert on yet, because it's really great for the kids to be the experts on things. And if somebody can figure out how to save, a file a certain way, or how to get this feature to work better, or answer somebody's question before you get to it, that's awesome. They're helping each other. And when they help each other with the work, they've learned the content even more than what you have. And what's that saying about, you really learn something once you have to teach it to someone else. That's what I was going for. So it can be really great for the kids as well as the kids who are trying to find the answers. Again, I've told you this before. Think about options and what other choices that they have. I wanted to show you one more link called Symbaloo, and it's right here. It allows you to put all of your links in one place, and this is just an example, but you could put in all of the different Web 2.0 tools that you could make available to students in one spot, and then they would be able to access those and have more options than if you just gave them a list or something. Let me try to get over to, let me open up one more tab here really quick and I can show you mine. And it might make a little more sense. I thought I had that one open and it's not going there for me. Okay. There we go. All right. So I put a lot of those different Web 2.0 tools into one of the Symbaloos, and students can visit here, and they'll quickly figure out which one they may not need to use. For instance, Quizlet is for making flashcards. You wouldn't use that if you're trying to make a movie. That's just silly. But you can look around and experiment a little bit and find some tools that are going to fit your use that you feel comfortable with. And again, I think anytime we give students a little more of a voice in the classroom, that's really helpful to them. And it helps them to also take control of their learning a little bit. So that one's Symbaloo. And who's completely overwhelmed? Anyone? I told you I was having a mean problem. I kind of like them a lot. Anybody have some questions and answers you would like answered? Some questions you would like answered? We have several minutes left, and I would love to help you find some tools that would be a great fit for what you already have going on in your classroom. So if you wanted to use that text box at the bottom of your screen, feel free to go ahead and maybe share some ideas for your classroom, or if you have any questions that I can help you with about how technology can be great in your classroom.
You're also more than welcome to, if your audio is functioning. I know we had some issues in the last few minutes with audio, but if you have any problems, let me know. You can also use your audio to ask a question or use our chat box or Q&A box.
I don't know, Celia. I'm not sure anybody has any questions.
No problem. You're more than welcome.
If you guys think of some, in the future, I'm going to click ahead a little bit. Oh, I'll talk a little bit more. If you think of a question, you just hit it right in there, and we'll take care of it in a minute. I keep reinforcing this point. Start small with technology. Find one or two that seemed interesting to you, that seemed like you might enjoy those, that might be a good fit for your classroom. Try one or two of those out. Maybe start small with a small group and see how it goes. And then experiment some, get familiar with it. But don't be afraid to learn from your students. I think that's a really empowering feeling for them when they can help you or other people. And finally, sometimes people get a little wound up about too much technology replacing us. And I really like this quote about technology will not be replacing the teachers, but if you don't use any technology at all, you might really wind up in a bad spot. So maybe try a little. I'm not saying you need to revamp everything, but give it a shot. See what you can come up with. I'm glad to have some positive comments over here. I am sorry I overwhelmed people. I thought I would. I kind of talk fast, and I have so many things to share with you. I get a little excited. So, again, I believe I have a recap slide. If you were trying to catch it all and you didn't, if you write down these 8 websites, all of them have great help resources. And in a minute, I'll give you my email. Deborah wants to know if there's somewhere you can find all of these websites. Do you want my own personal Symbaloo, Deborah? I'm pretending you're saying yes, and I'm just going to take you there. I showed you that a minute ago, but I'll give you the link if that helps. It's right here at the top. hellonewman.weebly.com/index.html. I think I'm going to copy that even. I haven't tried this before. I might break the entire internet. We'll see what happens. I'll put it right here in the comments, and maybe everybody can get it or not. Oh, I should click send. All right. Well, okay. I'm going to send it to Celia, and maybe she can put it up there. It didn't want to send for me.
Oh, perfect.
Does that work? And that's not a perfect website, you guys, so please don't judge me. But by all means, use the links as much as you can to help you. And just explore and try things out. You've got my Twitter handle at the bottom and my email as well. And again, I can hang around for a few minutes if somebody has questions. And if you think of them tomorrow morning, you can shoot me an email, and I'll do what I can to help you out.
Thank you so much again, Tracy. I really appreciate you coming out today and giving us this presentation.
Thanks for asking me. It was fun.
Of course. And again, if you have any questions or concerns regarding online seminars or recordings, we actually are recording this online seminar right now, and it'll be available on our social media accounts. So follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook to get all the latest updates on what presentations we'll be having next for our online seminars. So everyone have an amazing summer. Stay up to date with what's going on, and hopefully we'll be seeing you in our next few online seminars.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.